Today on The Loyalty Loop, we go for a bike ride in Amsterdam. We talk to a guy on a boat. And we do some rope and rock PowerPoint. Why? Because this week we're exploring how PR really works. Or does it? All of that and some advice on how you can create your own media moments of inspiration on The Loyalty Loop.
According to the Public Relations Society of America, the definition of public relations is influencing, engaging, and building a relationship with key stakeholders across a myriad of platforms in order to shape and frame the public perception of an organization. I think that's a lot of words, and it's actually a lot more simple than that.
That is Michael Spark, one of the most prolific PR professionals in the world, and he'll be back. But how does public relations, or PR as it's commonly called, actually drive revenue? How does it get a consumer to go out and buy something? How does PR actually work? This is Lincoln Road, Miami's high fashion boutique row, and I'm here to visit only one of the 200 boutiques. But that's not important right now. What is important is how I actually ended up at Lincoln Road. And to be honest, the journey to Lincoln Road started about a month ago, December 16th, 2017, to be exact. You see, last December, I received a ton of orders for this. My first book, Brandscaping, which originally came out in 2012. Yes, 6 years ago. Now, the fact that I received a bunch of orders around the holidays isn't unusual. What is interesting is that this huge flurry of orders came from one place, a place 4,624 miles away. All these orders came from here, the Netherlands. Now, anytime I get a flurry of orders like this, I try to find out what inspired them to buy my book. I look for their moment of inspiration. But I scoured the web for references to brandscaping in the Netherlands, and I found nothing. I was looking for a media moment of inspiration. But in order to understand what a media moment of inspiration is, we need to first more clearly define what we mean when we say media.
Media is any third party that has a way to reach audiences that you care about. It could be a YouTuber, or someone's Instagram, or it could be the New York Times, or it could be the anti-New York Times, BuzzFeed, or a smaller hyper-local blog, or a podcast, or NPR, a daily email that you sign up for that sends you the 5 things you need.
And that is not an exhaustive list. A media moment of inspiration is an instant in your media consumption that sends you on a journey you never expected. Now here's where it gets really interesting. A full month later, I see this on LinkedIn.
Curious and interested in starting to read this one, Andrew Davis shares stories of unconventional partnerships to create content their audience can't get enough of. A book filled with common sense solutions.
And it's from this woman, Northje Arts. And guess what? She's from the Netherlands. So I message her and I ask her a very specific question. I ask her the question we uncovered last week, the one simple question designed to uncover the moment of inspiration. Northje, what inspired you to pick up brandscaping? And she sends me to this. Huh? But it's a Business Insider article in Dutch.
Oh no!
Now, I love the Netherlands, but I don't speak Dutch, not a lick. So I call the only person I know that can help me read this article.
Hi, my name is AJ Huisman. I am with Content Marketing Fast Forward, and I live here in Amsterdam.
I've been friends with AJ for almost 10 years. He's one of the brightest minds in content marketing, and I knew he could help.
So instead of translating the article in English, I decided to show you what it's all about. Well, this is Baller, right behind me. It's one of the coolest brands in the Netherlands and it's growing really, really fast. But Baller isn't just any brand, it's run by famous Dutch football player Demi de Zeeuw.
There's de Zeeuw with a fantastic goal! He opens up this game in the 5th minute in the Amsterdam arena.
Every day, around 400 packages leave this store, from €60 t-shirts to $600 jackets. And the business is doing around 10 million euros per year. Not bad for a company that only started 4 years ago. And here's where it gets interesting. He's spending nothing on traditional marketing. Instead, in the article, he says that he learned this novel marketing approach from a marketing book by American strategist Andrew Davis. And to be clear, the article never mentions the title of the book.
Which explains why I never found this article in my initial research in the first place. I was searching for brandscaping.
But I'm sure it's this one.
So AJ, how famous is Demi de Zeeuw?
Baller has over 1 million followers on Instagram, and the 43 platform that he started has over 16 million followers on Instagram, and it doesn't really hurt that he has a lot of famous friends to help him with his very cunning product placement strategy. So, well, basically that's how he built his business.
If you're having trouble comprehending how famous Demi is, this is what his phone looks like when he posts something on Instagram. Yep. His phone blows up. Okay, let's just back up for a second. Northg read this article about this store and now she's reading brandscaping. But what happened in between reading the article and reading my book? Well, that's where we need to sit down with this guy. Michael Smart is one of the most sought after PR pros in the world. You can think of him as the PR pro's PR pro. But here's the question, Michael. How exactly does PR work?
The way PR actually works from a consumer marketing standpoint is your target consumer hears about your product or service or your brand from a third party they trust. So a media outlet whose loyalty loop they're already inside. And they perceive that you as a brand didn't have anything to do with that, and that therefore it's more credible to them, so they're more likely to start their journey to find out more about you.
Aha! All right, let's just break down what Michael said with some rope and rock PowerPoint. This is what I call a journey chain. A journey chain is a series of loyalty loops that lead to a purchase, or even a series of purchases. Let me break down how this works. This shell is Northg, and Northg started as a Business Insider loyalty loop reader. Now, at some point, she had a moment of inspiration in which she decided to look up marketing strategist Andrew Davis. Now, I'm imagining that she looked it up on Google, which means she's a loyalty loop consumer of Google and its search engine. In that search, she might have found my website, but it's most likely that she is also a loyalty loop consumer of Amazon. Amazon is the third search result when you search for marketing strategist Andrew Davis. And the book Brandscaping comes up there, which means she probably decided after that moment of inspiration to go into the Amazon loyalty loop to then actually purchase the book at Amazon. She has now made a moment of commitment. Now, when she received the book from Amazon, she is also a LinkedIn loyalty loop consumer. She's obviously active there, and she decided to post something on LinkedIn. And this is where I come into the picture. She tagged me on LinkedIn because I am also a loyalty loop consumer of LinkedIn. And in that moment, I had a moment of inspiration to message her. And in this loyalty loop, we discussed where she was inspired to go on this journey, which led me to Business Insider. And Business Insider, which I'm not necessarily a loyalty loop consumer of, all of a sudden is relatively interesting to me. And that is how I ended up here. It's all because of something that AJ said.
By the way, the article also says that Demi's opening a shop in Miami next month.
And he said it because it was in that Business Insider article.
The Baller pop-up store is tucked away in the very back of a luxury boutique called The Vault, which means I'm now part of the Vault's loyalty loop. Not only that, I'm part of the Baller loyalty loop. And this entire journey chain never would have existed without that one Business Insider media moment of inspiration that Northg actually had. What do you think of the journey chain?
Media moments are unbelievably powerful, and oftentimes the longer the journey chain, the more powerful the media moment. So before I tell you how you can create long consumer journey chains and the right media moments that inspire them, let me remind you that you can sign up for the Loyalty Loop videos at akadrewdavis.com/loyaltyloop. You'll get the videos one day before everybody else in the world, and this week you'll get a special bonus video with some more insight from Michael Smart. He's gonna uncover the blind spot a lot of PR pros have. And you'll also get a little bit of my perspective on creating the right kinds of media moments. Okay, so how can you create your own media moments? Here's the key. Understand that some of the most effective media moments have nothing to do with you directly. They're actually a factor of the story your clients and customers tell, just like Demi. Stop telling me about your company, your news, your products, your new features, your big announcement, your whatever. Start celebrating your customers' and clients' successes, even when it has nothing to do directly with your product or service. I hope you're enjoying my Loyalty Loop exploration. I will see you next week on the Loyalty Loop, where we'll be diving into some big B2B questions. So I'll see you next week in my Loyalty Loop.